My oh my, the Ottawa Senators take it in the nation's capital. They have made a series of it by getting a win. Put your brooms away, Leafs Nation. You're going to have to save those for another day. This was a really big win for the Ottawa Senators. This young team hasn't been to the playoffs in quite some time. I think it's been since 2017. Comment down below if I'm wrong on that one, but it's been a while. So to be able to get a win and watch them get slightly better as each game goes on is important. It's also critical for the Leafs to have a little bit of adversity going into the next round. I get it. People think I'm making an excuse for this one. Hey, we always wanted to beat them in 5 anyway, right? Why not? Well, first off, you know I'm not a Leafs hater, but you know I am not part of Leafs Nation. I'm as neutral as Switzerland when it comes to this one. I just want to see great hockey from these two teams, and I do think it's important to have a few bumps in the road and not have it too easy on your way to the next round, especially if you're Toronto. You want to build a little bit of those calluses, a little bit of grit. I also think Toronto learned a very valuable lesson in this game, and I will tell you what that valuable lesson is in the end because it shows up in overtime. But let's start this series off with a power play because that just seems to be what's been happening tonight in the NHL. Puck comes across the ice. I mean, we've seen this how many times? You go from the top, you go from the shooter position. It's your typical 1-3-1. You blast a puck by Stolarz there. Stolarz had a nice game again, but the man named Jimmy Stützle ends up nailing it in the top right corner. Huge for Ottawa to get the lead in this one. This is the first time they've had the lead in the series. It is really interesting to see because Toronto is actually the one that comes out of the gate getting more shots than Ottawa in the first 10 minutes of this game, but it is Ottawa that takes the lead first, so the roles finally get flipped. The goal and the play that could have been. It's a simple puck that's put in on net. It's tough for Stolarz to handle. It's a little bit of a bouncing puck. It ends up with a giant brouhaha here. I have no idea how this puck didn't go in. It sits on the line. It sits on the line. It sits on the line. You can't make this stuff up sometimes. Look at it. They are stuck on the post. There's nowhere for that puck to go. McCabe makes a diving save. Stolarz makes a diving save. Looks like something out of the movie Goon. They keep it out of the back of the net. But it's 6 minutes left in the first. It's the Leafs power play. We've been talking about this. When you have a 5-man forward unit, silly things can happen at the point. It's a little bit of a board battle here. And what you want to take a look at, it's just going to slip through his legs. There's nothing Marner can do about this one. This is the risk you run when you have forwards up the wall. It slips through in between his legs. He makes the wrong decision on what to do there. A defenseman likely would not have. And that says Pinto off to the races. Picks up that puck halfway all the way to home. Makes a quick little move. Freezes Stolarz, and it ends up trickling in for a beauty goal. And that's where you can kind of feel it. Is this going to be Ottawa's night? They're up 2-0. Should have been up 3-0. They took a little bit longer to get it done, but it's the skill of the Leafs that cracks through next with the Tavares goal. William Nylander here over to Johnny Tavares. Nylander has just been awesome. Him and Tavares have been quite the dynamic duo. They're right up there with Scheifele and Connor this year in the Canadian teams. He's got his head up. He's making a beautiful play here. I'm telling you, this guy can play anywhere on the ice. He is definitely... I know you're going to hate me saying it, but I think he's the best player going on the Leafs right now. Obviously, Austin Matthews is a superstar, the stud, the bona fide killer on that team. But damn, I really like Willie Nylander's game this year and right now in this moment. That puck moves over to JT's stick. JT puts it in. You can just see how absolutely deadly accurate that was, picking that puck right off the back of his stick, out of midair, 2 inches off the ground. Guys practice this all day, every day to put in goals like this. It's fun to do at practice. You end up beating a goalie. And what do you notice here? Ullmark at this point doesn't even know it's gone in the back of the net yet. To tie it up, how about the captain with an absolutely massive block shot here? I say this every video. Totally underrated defensively, one of the best defensive forwards in the game. Captain lays out life and limb. That puck makes a quick little bounce. And then who ends up picking it up? Well, it's going to be Matthew Knies. Marner does what Marner does best, though. Get loose pucks. So after Matthews goes down, Marner helps out his captain. Knies is going to come in late on a big little swoop around here. And this is what Knies brings to this line. He's a little bit slower. He's the third man in. He's the guy looking to score. He likes driving the net. Marner is going to be your loose puck guy. Matthews is the guy. and it's just a foot race. And I love what we see here. Pokes it forward. I wish more players would do that. It's just a very smart play. And then he uses that big body of his and that big amount of size to push forward. I don't know what the penalty is he's calling here, but I don't care. I'm not a referee and it doesn't matter because Nyes picks it up and with an absolutely sick play, lays out Allmark, scores to the top left corner. Period break happens. Both teams are going in. Toronto's thinking about the sweep. The Senators are thinking about surviving. I don't think there's a lot of panic coming from both teams. We move over to the third period here because it's Brady Tkachuk who absolutely wholesales Toronto here with an absolutely massive hit that ends up leading to the goal in order to take the lead. Comes through, bang, throws him about 10 feet. This one is clean. The puck was near him. It is an interference. Hands go into the chest. You fly, and that causes the turnover as the puck moves into the corner and allows Ottawa to initiate the breakout. This big hit also initiates something else. It initiates a 5-on-4. It's going to take a while to get up and collect your thoughts after you've been run over by a freight train like that. Ottawa picks up that puck, and if you're a young defenseman who watches this channel, you got to take a look at this here. What you're doing is you're skating until this gap is gone. Look, you got all this daylight here. Don't force move that puck. If you're playing beer league too and you're an old guy like me, remember not to move that puck. Look, all daylight, 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 daylight. Keep going until the daylight is gone. And finally, it's at this moment here, the daylight is gone. That's when you're now going to move the puck. Take your time and space, move it up. Perfect play at the line, picks it up. We're in on the net. It's a nasty little backhand. It has been nothing but a day of nasty backhands. Big save by Stolarz. But the key here is don't give up on the play. Some players would curl around and skate away. Not David Perron, not Stanley Cup winner David Perron, former captain David Perron. He continues around the back of the net because he's going to stay in the play and he's going to find daylight over here for his second opportunity. This is why I thought this guy was so important to come over here to this team. That puck moves out to the right side. They feed it over to Perron. It's in the back of the net, 3-2 Ottawa. So for the 100th time in these playoffs, I see a shot that should be a goal. It's a huge save by a goalie, only to turn into the goal. So as we carry the line here, it's your standard enter the zone, drop it back. You got Tavares here. He's going to cut into the net hard. Should be a goal. Big save by Allmark. Also for the 100th time in these playoffs, the puck gets kicked out to the point. Now, if you're not watching every game like me in the playoffs, you might not feel like this is all that common, but I've literally watched every game in the playoffs. I'm exhausted from it. I've made a video on every one of them. That's why you should like and subscribe to this channel because we're putting in the work. But seriously, goal, nope, huge save, poke it out to the defenseman, and then we end up in a spot where that goal does happen. So they pick it up, and back in the day, pretty sure it was a Tuesday, the defenseman would have just shot that on net. It would have just been a mook play, throw a puck on net or get it wide. They don't do that anymore. They're very smart at regrouping. It doesn't matter if it's a forward or a D back here covering because, 50% of the time it's a forward now as defensemen are sneaking in. This game has become incredibly mobile and you get right back into your setup. You're in a 5-man overload. You're going to walk this one out. You're going to take a look. You're going to wait. Of course he's going to wait. It's Willie Nylander. All Nylander does is open up lanes like this. Like a lane this wide, this is what Nylander does. He stick handles pucks, he keeps his head up, and he finds ways to make lanes where there's no lane. Look, there's no lane, there's no lane. There's 3 Senators in his way. So he goes, I'm going to wait, I'm going to wait, I'm going to wait. Ah, yes. There's my lane. There's the pass. It only took a split second. It goes in the back of the net. Tie game, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. That is why I think he is so valuable. I know Matthew scores a lot of goals, but I still cannot believe we're living in a world where there was a time people thought trading or overpaying for Willie Nylander was a terrible idea. Just goes to show we got to have a little bit of patience in the process because the man is absolutely deadly at opening up lanes. He does everything well on this team. So then we get into overtime. 4 minutes, high sticking, Batherson's in the box. The Leafs don't win this game because I feel they do not have enough urgency on this power play. 4 minutes feels like forever. They're moving slow. They're moving with purpose. They're not really trying to drag butt, but they're moving slow because it's like, la-di-da-da-da. I have all the time in the world. I'm going to set up the perfect play. Sometimes you just got to get gritty. And this is what I mean the Leafs had to learn. you've got to get gritty sometimes and just throw some pucks at the net. You do want to set up for the perfect play. Take a look here. Okay, quick shot. That's fine. Matthew Nyes does what he needs to do. But then it's this moment. Lethargic pass. Dum-de-dum-dum-dum. Lethargic pass. You don't see guys making passes like that on the power play ever. You've watched this power play your whole life, Leafs fans. You move the puck, you move it hard. You don't move it softly like that, but fine, whatever. Lethargic pass back. These are all change-ups. Like, it's so wild. Look, lethargic pass. And then even Matthews gets in on it here. His head's kind of down a bit. He's looking, I don't want that. Like, you have space here. You can see it. It's right there. All you're trying to do, we just talked about it with Nylander. Time and space is seconds away. You have that time. He can see it. Nope. Gives it up. Lets that lane go away. And quite casually looks for the switch. I really hope they learn their lesson on this one. I know Berube is going to tune them up over this. I would. I mean, short memory, but by tune up, I mean they will watch a lot of video. Berube and the special teams coach will go over it and explain, you can't move that slow. We go in, little fake shot. Oh, we turn away again, and we go back to the point. Like, what are we doing? Well, I'll tell you what we're doing. The same thing that happened in the Minnesota Wild Vegas Golden Knights game. We're setting it up for a junk goal to go back the other way. There's no junk goals. It's just a saying I like to use because they're beautiful goals. And then there's goals where you just throw stuff at the net and things happen. It's just a comedy of events. And that's exactly what this is. I mean, they should have been able to ice that game in that 4-minute power play. You're good enough to. Ottawa ends up picking up this puck here. They move it back to Sanderson. That puck is almost out of the zone. He gets it just in the nick of time. And instead of regrouping, setting up, or doing whatever, he just throws a junk shot on net that Stolers can't see, misses, and it ends up in the top corner. There you go. Bob's your uncle. Game over. They win series there. So I think there's a lesson to learn there on that power play from the Leafs. I think the Leafs played fine tonight. They're a good team. I think Ottawa played really good tonight. I don't think there was anything to really pick on or complain about. I think it's basically a win for hockey and for the fans. But overall, if I'm the Leafs, the big takeaway I got from that game is that power play. Urgency, killer instinct. End it now. You got to take every opportunity you can. You cannot ever get too comfortable in the playoffs. They just look too comfortable on that power play. Great game by Ottawa. We'll see you guys in the next one.